Alright everyone, I got the new transistors in today. You can tell right away that they're brighter than the old transistors because I've got one going side by side right now. So I'm going to have to use them because you're not going to see any of this if I don't. Okay? And yeah, it's a lot brighter. You can see that green flash is blanking out the video sensor on this one side, and this side it's not. Okay, so I'm going to have to use the new transistors. I just don't know if I can solder this up to fit in the trunk of that Honda. I'm going to have to try, though. Just going to have to be creative with my soldering, and the song must be over. Using some, let's replay that song. Using some paints and heat shrink tubing to keep everything from shorting. It's possible. I can do it. I don't like the size of those transistors at all. I mean, look at the size of that thing. I'll do a complete rundown of what the circuit is. Let's do it, shall we? First off, you can see the song that's playing, as you might think by the cars. Plugged into a headphone jack. I've got my headphone jack wired up. I figured out what was right, left, and ground on the wiring out of my headphone jack pretty quickly. I'm going to use a different headphone jack for the actual circuit itself. Now, what I'm going to do in a minute is solder that one to a piece of wire so the different right and left channels light differently. Right now, it's just bouncing off one channel. But if you got a good stereo song bouncing back and forth, the different sides will light differently. Okay? This is a transistor. Let me see if there's any specs on it close at hand, and I don't see any off. I don't even know where I put the bag for the transistors. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there was any specs on this bag. I'll have to look the specifications up on it. The old transistors I was using, those I can find real quickly. Ah, here it is. They're TIP31C transistors. Okay. They'll handle a hell of a lot more power than I'm feeding them right now, and I know they will. That's why they got the huge heat sink on it. It's just their specs work better than the specs of the other transistor. Not only that, if I do something here, I've got the song player at full volume, and it's screaming I'm going to hurt my ears. I got the volume down, we don't get any flashing, so it's got to be at full volume on this thing. Okay? To get the flashing. And the power output's just a teeny bit higher on the left side than the right, on the right side than the left side right now. So I got to use them. Anyhow, let's go through the circuit real quick. Here's my transistor. It's got 3 prongs coming out of it. Okay? Now, the left prong, when you're looking at the transistor from the front, goes to negative. The center prong's the signal. Okay? What a transistor does is when it detects a high enough voltage on this signal, I forgot the proper names for them, some of you are going to give me trouble. When it detects a high enough voltage, it allows voltage to flow through the third prong. Okay? So this is my negative. Okay? You can see it's got it wired to the negative. When this prong detects a voltage, this prong lights. And the output from the MP3 player is supplying voltage. And as the music peaks and goes up and down, okay, got to play that again. But as the music goes up and down in its volume, you get peaks and valleys, and the peaks cause it to light and the valleys don't because not enough voltage is there. Over here I got a resistor to ground it to the voltage I'm running. Right now I'm running her at 9 volts. Okay? I know that this transistor here will handle, I've got a short. There. It just wasn't in there right, and that's why I quit working. Okay? I know this transistor will handle higher than 9 volts, but it takes at least 6 volts to light. Okay, so this is a resistor set for the voltage, because voltage in equals voltage out on these transistors. They do consume some of it, but not enough to worry about. And just think voltage in, voltage out, and you won't screw up your voltage settings on the transistor at all. I mean, on the LED at all. I might also put 3 LEDs in series there, and then the voltage won't matter at 9 volts. Okay? I'm trying to decide if I want to use green, blue, or red LEDs on this. And I may just go with... The red car is red. If I go with green... No, I'm going to go with blue. There's a reason I'm going to go with blue. One, blue would be illegal, and we'd have an idiot do that in this town. That was an email, by the way. I've seen too many cars with blue lights under them. Red, the car is red. That probably look best. But red is a lower voltage, which means I would have to have resistors for sure. Blue, yeah, let's go with red. I got a red car. We're going to put red resistor lights underneath it. So, I'm going to quit ranting and raving here. I'm going to get to work. I'm going to get out a piece of breadboard, and we're going to start soldering up my circuit. And I'm going to start soldering up my input. I'm going to have to find a royalty-free song to actually play for you guys. I can show you what song I'm playing. I just can't play the music, because as soon as I do, YouTube's all over me about copyright violation. I can say, hey, I'm playing Heartbeat City by the Cars, as long as you don't hear it, and they won't do anything about it. So I got to find some royalty-free music to demo this with, so you guys can see it bouncing to the beat. I'm just happy I got the circuit working. So, I'm going to get the soldering. I can now work on my LEDs and my lighting today. The other thing I want to do today is clean up some of these parts here and get them all clear coated. Because once everything's clear coated, I can start assembling. That's what I've been waiting on, is clear coating everything. I'm also getting the interior painted up. These seats are taped up and ready for the first round of color. They are getting this color today, XF7. It's not the same red as this here that orange peeled on me. I'm going to do the polishing experiment today and see if we can clean up that orange peel some. And I purposely orange peeled it over here. Okay, made sure that was real bad over there. And the rest of it I tried to be really careful and not orange peel it. So we're going to see what we can do with the polishing compounds. And again, I got 2 different polishing compounds to try. I got that rubbing compound there and the Tamiya compounds. Yeah, and your eyes aren't deceiving you. I've got some flocking powder here. We are going to flock those seats red today, and we're going to flock them black. They're going to be red and black. Half red, half black. So, I'll be back in a bit. I got lots to occupy me for today. Hopefully I can get the circuit done. I can get the painting done, all the clear coating done, so I can actually start making things tomorrow. I got to drill some holes in the underbody and solder up a whole bunch of these little things here. I really don't like soldering these things, but you got to do what you got to do, right? Yeah, it'll take me hours just to solder up 6 of these things. All right, I'll be back in a bit. Hey everyone, I had done some silly putty masking on this, and I'm learning a few things. One, for real simple shapes, the silly putty's quicker and easier. Anything complex, like this, I tried to half silly putty, half not silly putty, and the conclusion was tape. This is too easy with tape. Complex shapes are easier with tape than they are with silly putty. Same thing with those seats. I tried to have silly putty, half tape, and I'm going with tape on this. And I'm going to end up going with tape on these too. It just does a better job, from my opinion. So, if I'm in a hurry, I'm freehanding, I'm going to get the silly putty. But if I have some definite straight lines I need to do, grab the tape. And I probably will start doing hybrids of both. Because the more I use the silly putty, the easier it gets, obviously. But it's an interesting object to work with. Yellow tack, I've got some of it. Poster tack, this handy tack stuff. It works as well. Okay? But I'm basically using it to attach my parts to these sticks for painting. I'm not really using it for masking. Okay? So for my best 2 masking choices are tape and good old silly putty. Alright everyone, be back in a bit. I gotta tape that up for paint. I'm trying to get a whole big round of painting lined up so I can just do a big slew of painting, let it cure, okay, for a bit, and then do another slew of painting. All these need to be clear coated. Once they're clear coated, it's assembly time. I also have to start working on this dash wherever it ran off to here. Okay? I need to do my detail painting right in here. And I gotta get my speedometer set up right, and I gotta build 2 light boxes back here for LEDs. Okay? So this needs some work to it. This is probably an all-day project just to get this done. Alright, back in a bit. You see that hook? While I'm airbrushing, I commonly set the airbrush on that hook. Okay? I set it on there. I grabbed apart the clear coat. My arm must have bumped this. Because it just did it again. Only that hit the carpet, so it bent that needle really well. That needle is gone. And that's bad because the needles on these things are expensive. What it did a second ago, though, before I tried to show you, it went nose first right onto there. So that needle's just gone. There's no way of saving that needle. I've got a spare. I'm going to have to order another one. They're $30, $40 each. Okay? Cheapest I can find them is $30, $40. I got to tear this thing apart anyhow because it won't even move air right now. And all this stuff on the side here is built up paint. It's coming off. I bought an ultrasonic cleaner down there. I'm going to fill it up with some alcohol and put this in there and let it run once I disassemble it for a little while. I'm going to pull out the Patriot and start using it for what I'm doing. It'll work. I don't need this for what I'm doing. Actually, I need this for one part I was going to handle today. That's irritating. I can do it with the Patriot, but I have to be a lot more careful. This one's easier. So let me tear her apart and get going on it. Dang. Yeah, there's no saving that needle. It's too bent up this time. I've been rebending the needles, and it's far too soft this time. It's just not going to hold up. I'll be back in a little bit. But I'm all set up to do a big round of painting, get all this painting done. A lot of these parts, this is our final coat of paint before assembly, so I can start putting this thing together in the next day or two. Yeah, and you can see right there's a hybrid between masking tape and silly putty for masking. I'll be back in a bit. I got to tear this airbrush down. Alright everyone, I showed you an experiment where I did some flocking. This stuff's pretty durable. We taped it, we pulled the tape off. Nothing happened to it. Okay, I followed the directions on a YouTube video. You spray down your color of paint, you put your flocking that's the same color over the paint while it's wet. You wait a couple hours, shake it off, and it's all good. And I'm thinking, well, you know, I heard other people say this, you can get this stuff at places like Hobby Lobby. Alright? That came from Hobby Shop. This stuff came from Hobby Lobby, and I thought I was going to try it. And I get something that looks like it's growing mold. I mean, it looks horrible. I cannot have this. Okay? It doesn't come off either, just like the other stuff. It does a little bit. But it looks horrible. So I got to remove it all. At least it's sealed down with Tamiya paint, which means I can get it off fairly easily. I mean, look at these headrests. I mean, it's conceivable someone would do that to their car, but, you know, that's like gluing cotton balls to your car. And sitting in it, it's just going to look horrible. So, let me get to stripping. Now, my big concern is, did I seal this up with clear coat? It looks like I did. If I sealed this up with what I think I did, I can strip that easily enough, and it looks like I sealed that too. So stripping this won't hurt this, hopefully. I'm going to get busy on it because I got to get moving. I've got less than 2 weeks left. I've got about 12 days left, and this thing's got to be done. I'm fairly far along with it. You guys can tell when you look at it. I mean, here's the door panel. Nellie was telling me she can see some shadows and stuff in the door panels, and I did that on purpose. She was like, it's darker here than here. And I'm like, yeah. I'm using some shading skills and trying to give some depth and shadow where there would be depth and shadow to that door panel. I got to paint that speaker yet. A different color. But that's easy. All of this stuff is either gotten another coat of paint and is waiting clear coats. I've got most of the parts painted now. It's just the interior that's not. And a few detail parts here and there, like the lights. I need to paint the lens covers for the lights and stuff like that. For the most part, most of the painting's done. Okay, other than this part right here, that I have to strip and start over. So let this be a lesson to everyone. You experiment on plastic card. A lot of you experiment on plastic spoons, and that's a wonderful idea because they're not flat. But either case, experiment. Don't do it on your contest model piece. I thought I was covering the bases, then I tried a different product, and it turns out they're not the same product. They're very different materials. Even though they look pretty much the same when you look at them up close. Okay? And Thunderpaws, here's a bird. And he's going to get up and knock everything off the shelves to look at the bird. I got to learn to work with this cat instead of against him and just clear the top of my shelves. Okay? But anyhow, everyone, I'm going to get to work because I got a lot of work over here. Oh, and I did finish the detail paint on this. I just have to clean up a few chip marks here and there. And it's ready for assembly. Okay? This thing will be all ready for assembly as soon as I clean up a few chip points here and there. Yeah, and all those parts are clear coated, sitting on their trees. I got a mess in here. I gotta get to it. These parts are all clear coated. So I've got most everything done, ready for assembly. Someone pointed out that I failed to paint the back of the disc. And I kind of did and kind of didn't. They're glossy and shiny. So I'm not going to worry about them too much. And I don't think you're going to really be able to see them when it comes down to it. You'll see why in a little bit. I'll be back later.